I should be okay. There I am. With myself in the middle. Hey, good evening, everybody out there coming in. Our pain here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. We're going to talk about Trump's 200 days. August 8th was his 200th day. So let me bring up the co-host. What's going on? 100 watts. What's happening? Yeah,
What's
man.
happening? What's
Yes,
happening?
I know we've been talking about doing this 200-day thing, man. So I don't know if you got your own little personal list of things, but I broke it up into my head, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't know if we have to go in that order, but if we have something we want to say and think is bad or ugly, we could just leave with that and say what it is. But I won't go down my list of good stuff, but we can get there for a second. Listen, my anniversary is like 2 weeks away, man. So me and the wife are planning on doing some stuff. Yeah. So we're gonna hang out for a little while, man. Be away. Or that Monday, I'm gonna be out. Monday, uh, I think it's the 24th, the 25th. Yeah, I'll be out of pocket. So you could rock the show, man. Have something special to
Heard that.
talk
Heard
about.
that.
So I'll be out on that Monday. I won't be back till like Tuesday, man. I'll probably be back from flipping cables, man. Other than that, man, everything's good, man. It's hot as hell out here in New Jersey, you know, which is cool. That's all right. Other than that, man, I've been just doing some things, man. So what's happening with you, man?
Shit, man. Working out different equipment, testing out different equipment, trying to get my streaming stuff together. Got
Okay.
a lot of different places I'm trying to go. Just I don't want to be stuck in a box of just talking about relationships all day. So,
No,
just
man,
working
I
all
hear you.
that out, getting my
I
stuff.
hear you.
Just
I do hear that, man. It
football
is
season coming
tiring.
right back around the corner. That football season coming back makes it easier to expand conversations
Oh,
beyond what women
absolutely.
ain't doing.
Do you pop up on this sports show over here every so often? The BMU sports.
Between you and Black Man, I be at work
Yeah.
most of the time when y'all be doing your sports
Uh,
show, so I don't really get to catch it.
some of
Be
us
at
got to
work.
work, Somebody got to keep the world going around,
Yeah, yeah. School's got to get
So
past the clock. Yeah.
somebody got to work. But
Somebody got to
anyway,
flip the
man,
burgers, man. Somebody got to flip the
yeah,
burgers.
you ain't flipping no burgers, man. I know you're doing more than that. But anyhow, man. So what do you? Okay, let's talk about the topic today. Listen, I just thought what I wanted to do was talk about the list of things, but I want to let people know we don't have to come up here and hold the water for Trump. You know, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly of what the man has done so far. So anybody who has some thoughts on what you think he's done that you don't like, feel free to express that. Put it in the chat. If you want to come up, you got to come on camera. But we could talk about it because everything hasn't been peachy keen. Even though I think if I had to grade them, if I had to grade, I think there's more good than it is bad in my mind's eye. But that's just me. I don't want to cloud nobody else's judgment. I just think a couple of big things that I thought was great was closing the border was absolutely fantastic thing. Getting that border closed so fast after so much years of both the Republicans and the Democrats gaslighting us on how hard it is to close the border, to come in and just shut that shit down in a matter of weeks was nothing short of amazing. That just tells us when you got resolve and the power, you can do a whole lot of shit. So I mean, it's been years.
And
Fucking,
that's my thing.
good.
And that's been my thing about Trump, right? I don't necessarily agree with everything that he's doing. I don't necessarily think everything he's doing is right. I just believe that looking at Trump, you have to look at it and say all of the people that have taken office before him have been half-assing and dragging their feet. They doing more trying to play the political game than actually getting shit done. And
Right,
again,
and
we
taking
don't
the and
have
taking
to
the
agree
arrows.
with
Go
what he's
ahead.
doing, but he's getting shit done.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. There's a lot of shit done. And of course, that was the first thing. That border thing I thought was really important. He had to close, he had to stop the bleeding, and he did. And then that leads me to the so-called bill that he got signed. It was the first bill, the reconciliation bill, which allows him to fund his I would say fund his fantasies. Actually, it's fund his policies. But if you want to be kind of cynical, so he could fund his fantasies with this damn bill. And so the bill was signed so he could afford to secure the borders and put money behind it and finish building the wall. I think that's good. He's got more money for ICE agents and things of that nature. I have a bad thing that he's done with ICE and his cabinet members. I guess we could just jump right to it. I think the thing with getting more money for ICE to do their job, I think the Republicans, Trump included, made a mistake by emphasizing that we're going to just go after the worst of the worst. That's not how they should have sold this. I think they should have sold it saying, listen, if you're not here, if you're out of compliance, you're subject to deportation. Well, we have a pecking order, but I'm going to let everybody who's in America know that if we stop you and you're out of compliance, it doesn't matter how long you've been here, you're going to be subject to deportation. You might not get deported. You might get your day, but you know what? You're on notice. And I think that's how they should have sold it. They should have never sold it like, oh, we're just going after the worst. Because that's not
I don't
true.
necessarily, I don't
But go ahead.
necessarily, I don't necessarily I don't necessarily rock with that, right? Because just because my focus is taking care of the worst of the worst doesn't mean you're absolved. My focus, my main directive is getting rid of the worst of the worst. But you are still subject to everything that you were subject to before. So don't think that just because I'm telling you that I'm trying to get rid of the criminals, that means that just because you fit into a certain category that you good too. Like you still liable to get picked up too, Lo.
Well, okay, you're right. Of course, you're right. But well, if we're playing a political game, and I have opponents, right? And this is what his opposition says. Well, what you said was you're only going to go after the worst of the worst, which implies that you wouldn't put the people who are not criminals on that list. That's the constant retort of the other side because they kind of equivocated trying to be politically correct because they always meant that everybody who's out of compliance is subject to deportation. But that's not how they emphasized it when they first came out. And it was now it's being used as a weapon against them. That's all the protests. That's all of this kind of stuff. I mean, the protests might have happened anyway, but they use that as an excuse. Well, you're getting rid of a lot of good people because just because they don't have a green card, just because their visa went out, or just because of A, B, C, or D, if they're not a criminal, maybe they shouldn't be deported. That's a lie. That part is what the Democrats are using against them, and they have so much political, not political, but they keep repeating that lies. So that's something that the sanctuary cities. You ever sit down here and listen to that crazy ass woman Karen Bass, right? Saying, for her, there's no difference between an illegal alien and a citizen. And she's the mayor, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, she's the mayor. So we have a lot of enemies. Look at Brandon Johnson in Chicago. For him, he doesn't see any difference between spending all the taxpayers' money. Now Chicago is going bankrupt. New York, Eric Adams was on a gravy train until they put him in a trick bag. And so I'm just telling you, man, our black leaders, I hate to call them black leaders, the people in high democratic spaces with black faces have actually absolutely betrayed the black people. They've absolutely betrayed us on a grand scale because a little bit of money that could be used to make neighborhoods safe, to rebuild housing and all that stuff, they spent it on the illegal aliens, and try to justify it, and not try to, they justified it. And 4 more years of that, man, this country wouldn't. And the biggest issue is these people are not assimilated. But anyway, that's my second thing. I think that the bad thing is that the way they worded it is bad. But the good thing is they're trying hard to get as many of these guys out of the country as they can. But it's going to be an uphill battle for 4 years.
That is the part that I do keep in mind whenever we do have these conversations. Like, hey, unless this man get impeached, we still got 3 more years. So this could legitimately go either way. You know what I'm saying? It could legitimately go either way. There's still 3 more years of this shit.
Yeah.
So getting caught up on one specific part in year one,
Well,
ooh wee,
isn't
year
this a
two,
big
three
part
gonna be
though?
hard.
Isn't this a big part though? The deportations is a huge part of all of this, and then we got some other smaller things. Uh,
It
because
just
there's a lot
depends on
of
who you're
people.
talking to.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Depends on who you're talking to, right? If you talk to
Because
a
I, I
liberal
don't
Democrat,
I don't see
yeah,
this as a big. This ain't a big deal to me. What needs to be
okay.
done is being done. What is supposed to be done is being done. I do agree with you in the sense of where I think it was bad um, is seeing how much money got put into ICE was kind of crazy. Again, one of those things where you might not agree with what he's doing, but the fact that is able to get shit done. To see how much money this man got put into ICE then makes me think like, all right, well, how come no one before him has been able to get money into education? They haven't been able to get money into, I don't know, food for schools, like so these kids can stop eating these bullshit lunches. Like seeing how much money he was able to put into ICE, there are so many other places where money can be put that no one has been able to how can I say it? Market the way that he does. Like this man is a marketing genius. I just know that whoever becomes president, whoever is elected into office, even with these midterms, the expectation, the bar has been raised for every politician that gets voted in from this point forward. Like the
Well,
bar is completely raised.
nah,
Even for
you're
the
right though.
Democrats, where the tagline is "Your victimhood is our friendship." Like even for victimhood, bar has been raised.
Let me ask you, but now that you mentioned it, listen, the midterms, right? The Democrats feel that they're going to win it, but I just think they're stumbling on themselves. Those guys who left Texas, first of all, they're shirking their duties. That not only when you lose elections, you can't just. Are we going to change the way we do business? Just because I don't want to vote, I'm gonna just get all my guys and I'm gonna leave so you don't get a quorum. That's so petty. It's bad. You lost. You got to take your medicine. But anyway, going back to your list, what else you
But
think he
see,
did?
but that thought process is stupid because when you have a marketing genius like Trump, if you decide that you're gonna pick up and leave, all he got to do is just fill that hole with his people. Like when you have that ability to speak to people and rile people up the way that he does, you can pick up and leave all you fucking want to because I'm gonna get them because now the market is open. The demand is there. I'm gonna take it.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. Eventually, they have to all come back, and all that kind of stuff. So that vote's going to go through. And then when you go and look at all the gerrymandering that all the blue states have done, they don't have nowhere to. They've gerrymandered, like in California. 40% of the votes are Republican, right? But they only got like 19 seats out and the rest of them are all Democrats. They got a super majority. And there's no way they're going to lose it the way things are drawn, unless they get a Republican governor, and then that might change. But anyway, man, so what else have they done? I thought the financing to ICE was a good thing, to tell you the truth, because they're going to need it. I think they're going to need it for all the illegals that's in the country. I think people underestimate how many illegals there are, you know. And here's my biggest issue with the illegal immigration. And I say this all the time. My issue is the assimilation, right? When people come here from other countries that are far away from, I guess, the Western way of life, they're bringing their own traditions, not just the good ones, but also the bad ones, right? And that's the key. That's one of the problems. Like you could say like the little Somalia in Minnesota, which is still crazy to me. How do you go from one of the hottest places in Africa to one of the coldest places in the United States? It's beyond me. But that they're there, but there's some traditions that they have that are completely the opposite of American or Christian values. And since they're all gathered in the same place, it's not like these people are assimilating into the American way of life, right? They believe in Sharia law. A lot of them do that. They believe in inbreeding, and things of that nature. So, and that's not a lie. Like this, it's not. You can look it up. Like marrying your first and second cousin is not. It's commonplace. And some of the guys they
Because
pick it up.
Americans have this. That's because Americans have this idea of everyone should be free to do whatever they want to do. Like the idea of just let a motherfucker be who they are. That's what America's built on. So you don't have to assimilate when you come to America.
That's a
When you go to other
liberal.
countries, when you go to other countries, they expect you to maintain yourself in a certain way, right? So certain
We did
Asian
too, though.
countries, you're not allowed to spit on this. Like even as simple as spitting on the street. Like certain countries,
Oh,
that's illegal. You get your
yeah.
ass whooped for something like that. No,
Well, no,
not in America,
but
baby.
we originally that's what it was. Yeah, immigration policy, the legal way is so narrow, is that way because of assimilation, right? So when you have liberals in there, these far left liberals who think free love and all that shit, that has got lost in the sauce, and the Republicans have been complicit in letting it fester. And so when Biden opened the borders and let all of these people in, it became front and center that now we've been doing this, but we creating little Italy's, little Hades, little Cubas, just little Azerbaijanis, little Russias. And so we got these enclaves of people. We got like Chinatowns. There's people who've been here in China. They still don't know how to speak a lick of English because they don't have to. Because if they stay in the little enclave, the signs are in Chinese, and all that kind of stuff. So all I'm just trying to say, the assimilation for a country like ours is missing. And it was even out of control when we were doing it legal immigration because we didn't mandate a lot of stuff. And so when we flooded the country with a whole bunch of people from around the world, they came with their good and bad baggage. And that's why it makes it so bad. And some of that baggage is horrible. Like, what they think is okay to do to little girls and things of that nature. That's why so many of those guys, they can't have these horrendous, crimes against, young girls.
I mean, I think that I do think that's a small part of why they do stay in their small little circle, their little Hades and their little whatevers. They stay in those circles because they know that if they bring that bullshit outside of their small circle, like they subject it to who knows what. You know what I'm
Well, that's
saying?
true.
You're not gonna just bring your playing with little girls. You ain't gonna just be in the hood playing with little kids and think somebody
No,
not gonna come and check up
and
on you
get you
about that.
right. But they use the good people in those
You know what I'm saying?
neighborhoods as
So yeah,
human shields, right? So if I'm a
yeah,
criminal, I can hide
because
out
most
and
people that
yeah. Go
oh
ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
because most of the people in it, they don't want the police called. They don't want because most of the people that live in those communities, they don't want the police called. They
No,
don't want law enforcement involved. They don't want the court system involved in their neighborhoods. They don't want government assistance involved in there. They don't want none of that shit involved in the neighborhood. So they gonna just mind their business, turn their head, and let you do whatever they doing.
absolutely. All right. So a couple of good things, right? What about the no tax on Social Security? I think that's a good thing. I think that doesn't kick in for a couple of years. Same thing with no tax on tips and overtime. I think those are they sound small, but we got a lot of people who make money on overtime and tips. As long as they ain't serving black people, then that's all right. If they gotta rely on black tips, they're shit out of luck. Yeah, okay,
Well,
maybe that's not true,
anybody
but
that
it's
well,
goddamn
see,
true. It's true. It's a shame, but it's
yeah,
true.
sometimes people that don't get tipped from black people is because you're not good at your job, right?
Yeah,
Because the
yeah.
other part of that I do want to make sure that we do have clear is people do see black people come in and be like, nope, I don't want
Oh
that table,
no, I don't
right?
want
So
that table.
servers do get disrespectful to black tables. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes niggas not gonna tip you because you didn't do a good job because you had this perception of us when we walked in.
But
So
how do
I
you
do
feel
just
that
want to make that
perception,
clear.
man? You think, okay, let me ask you a question, just a little segue. Do you think it's the table senses that the server don't want to serve them, But because the server thinks they ain't gonna tip me anyway, or is it mostly the server just does their job, and then they get reinforced that these guys ain't gonna tip me? Because I mean,
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Because you're not wrong, but I think for the most part, I think the notion that black people don't tip, I believe that shit's true. I believe it's true. I mean, I go out and we've gone out enough with the guys. They argue over the tips all the time. I stopped going out with people who argue over the tip, man, and shit like that. Because I tip if I go to a restaurant I like, I don't take some of these trifling dudes with me because I want service when I go there. I want them to know who I am. And so if they know who I am, I mean, I don't give away the store, but I know what most people make it. So that's just me. I think there's something to that stereotype. I think there's out of stereotypes, that's one of the stereotypes that's true like a mom. I really
I
believe
mean,
it.
I think most stereotypes carry some level of validity to them. So there is a level of validity to black people not tipping, but
Yeah.
again, there is a percentage of people that operate knowing that that stereotype exists. So now they're
I
over
agree with that.
tipping or they're being intentional about tipping. You know what I'm saying? So because that
Okay.
stereotype exists, there is a weight that flows completely in the opposite direction
Okay.
to overweigh the scales or whatever. But in terms of that interaction, the responsibility of etiquette belongs to the server. Like I came in here
No,
for a
I agree with
service, you're
that.
providing the service. It's
I agree
your
with that.
job to provide the good service. So it's
Yeah.
the server's responsibility to provide the good service, whether they're good tippers or not. Like it's your fucking job.
No, no, I can't. I'm not going to argue that. That's for sure. My thing is sometimes depends on the party, or depends on what kind of service I want. I might slide my server a couple of dollars before they even start. Here's depending on the scale of the restaurant, here's a 20. I'll sneak it in your hand. Just take care of us and shit. Because I know I got a couple of people at the table that's going to give you hell. So here's 20 in here's 20 in
Oh yeah,
advance. All right. You know, shit.
I've had that. Yeah, I've had that happen a couple of times where it'd be a party of like 15 people come in, and one of the dudes pull me to the side and be like, "Hey, look, I know that this is gonna be hard. Take this 20 real quick, give it to the server. I know this gonna be hard. We'll look out for it at the end, but I just need like because when you get that server at 20 at the front, she all right. Let me do everything I can to make sure these people
Yeah,
taken care of.
easier.
Let me not
Yeah,
have an attitude. Let me not be an
yeah,
asshole.
definitely. It's unfortunate we have to do that, but shit. But I just think that I watch too many movies. I've seen the Goodfellas and shit go ahead and do that. Just tipping the guys on the way in. It's a slide of 20 here, 20
Yeah,
there. Man. Take care of me and shit.
yeah.
So other than that, man,
But
I think it's a good thing. As policy, I think that's a good thing. I think that's on the good list for
of
Trump.
course, 100%.
Right.
I think we can agree with that. I think the Social Security tax part is like, why has that been taxed at all? There's money that's coming from the government going to someone that's getting taxed to get sent back to the government. What the fuck are you doing? You double
Because they're
dipping,
full
dog.
of
Like
shit.
you
They're,
playing
because
games.
they're full of shit, man. They playing games. They should have never been taxed on Social Security. Never. It should have never been taxed on that.
That's
So
fucking stupid.
when that kicks in, I think that'll be a good thing because the people who need Social Security damn sure don't need you taking 20%. So that's for sure, right? So I think that's a good one. I mean, okay, so what about SNAP and EBT? What about getting rid of, they're trying to get rid of illegals. What about the notion with SNAP that they're saying, listen, we're going to give you SNAP benefits, but you can't buy this big gulps and shit like that for your kids? That's no longer allowed. Candy, big gulps,
Well,
and a number of states are starting to adopt that now. And you hear the people whining, I can't buy cake and I can't turn my little girl into an obese slob like I am. No, just all
well,
jokes
the
aside.
reason I
All
don't
jokes
like
aside. What about that? What about that?
the
What do you
reason
think
I
about that?
don't like that is
Okay.
because you're going to control what I can go to the store and go buy, but you're not putting any regulations on what my kids eat when they go to school. So
Is that
you're
true?
gonna tell me what I'm allowed to feed. You're gonna tell me what I'm allowed to feed my kids, but then I'm forced to send my kids to school. I'm basically told I need to send my kids to school, and I don't have
Mhm.
any control or say so or involvement in what the school's
Yeah,
nutritional
but
plan
the
is.
school, yeah, but the school, do they serve junk and shit? It might not be good, but is it junk? Do they serve the kids just snacks and candies? I don't think that's true. You know what I'm saying? It
Okay,
might not be
so
the best meat or the best vegetables. And what do they serve? Or is
if
ketchup a
you're worried about
vegetable?
if you're doing this, if you're
Right.
doing this because you're worried about the kids and what they eat, we know that a lot of kids that are on SNAP and EBT and all of that shit,
Yeah.
those kids, most of them only eat at school. So if you're worried about what these kids are eating, you need to make sure that their primary nutritional source is good for their body. Don't
No, okay.
tell me as a parent what I'm allowed to buy them if you're going to send them where they're at most of the day and
Uh,
feed them
I,
bullshit.
I don't know if I agree with your position on that. Just because one leg is
No,
effed
no.
up, that means I got to give. No, here's what I'm saying. The parent the parent is getting EBT and SNAP, right, to buy
Mhm,
food for their family, right? If they
mhm.
don't buy food for their family, that's a different issue, right? That's not an issue for the school. If the parent actually doesn't use those benefits for the kids, that's a different issue. Now, and then that's me talking. That's a different issue. I think they're separate. Like if the school doesn't serve great food, as a parent, that doesn't stop me from giving my kid good food. Now, if I want to buy them a soda with the $2 that I have in my pocket, I just pay for the big gulp myself. Right? It's not like they don't have any
Here's
money.
so here's the thing though. But here's the thing. So
Okay.
you're gonna tell someone instead of you getting $800 a month in food stamps, I'm gonna cut you down to $600 a month in food stamps. So number one, I'm gonna cut how much you get, right? And then on top of that, I'm going to tell you that you're only allowed to buy certain things. The problem that comes into play is once you start regulating what people can buy, because again, I know you do this thing where you go to the grocery store and you go buy ingredients so you can make dinner for your family, right?
Right.
You would have to agree that if somebody went into Walmart, it would be cheaper for them to buy a bunch of them little 99-cent pizzas, them little cheap ass pizzas for them to throw in
Yeah.
the oven. It would be cheaper for them to buy those rather than buying the ingredients to make the food fresh. So now you're putting these people in a position to where you're feeding their household a bunch of preserved fucking food because you're trying to regulate what they are and are not allowed to buy.
You know what? I think you're still conflating things, right? Because the fact that you said
How?
they're getting less money is not because of the snacks, right? They may be entitled to less money because of regulations, but some of the people are still getting the money they were getting before based on their hardship. Some of them are still getting as much as before,
Okay.
but what's only changed is they're being restricted on what they could buy. So if I have, let's just say keep it even. Let's remove some of the degrees of freedom. I get $1,000 a month for food stamps and EBT. Right? It didn't change with the new law because I can, my situation warrants $1,000. And so if it warrants $1,000, what you're restricted in buying is you could buy anything off the market that's good food. I could tell you could put a meal together for a family without having to spend a lot of money, but could also last for more than one meal, depending on what you like to eat. But you got let's be real. We know that we have a bifurcation in the black community. We have some folks who are on this square, understand about nutrition, understand about this, and then I represent. And even though this is not why I'm all fat and out of shape, but I represent the people who don't care what it would look like. People say you don't care what you eat. We got a lot of single women who are obese raising kids, and they buy them a lot of bullshit, man. They just absolutely buy a lot of bull. We can't deny that. And we just so when they buy the kids are all hyped up on sugar and carbs and if they buy the preservative shit, you could buy good meals and make those stretch and feed a kid a good meal as opposed to giving them big gulps and shit like that. I mean, I hear you, but we could agree to disagree. Because your situation
I
might be
just
different
think,
than mine. You might be on the ground more than I am on that.
yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? You
yeah.
see it.
I
You're,
just
you're
think
out
that
there.
I think that there are. other things to focus on when it comes to those kind of benefits rather than what people buy with them, right? The fact that someone the fact that someone cannot have a job and get $1,000 in food stamps, right?
Okay.
Versus someone who does have a job and maybe can only get $100 in food stamps, right? So I'm getting up every day, I'm going to work, I'm taking care of my family, I'm paying taxes,
Right.
I am a contributing
Right.
part of the
Right.
ecosystem, and I'm only getting $100. But you telling me this lazy motherfucker that's at home every day gets 1,000? Get the fuck out of that. I
Well,
think is more important
but that's a
than
different
telling
issue, though.
somebody that
Isn't
they
that a
they
different
can't go
issue?
buy cheap.
No, but what you just mentioned is one of the issues that's wrong with the program. There's people who are able-bodied who
And
are
I think
milking the system,
I think
right?
that's a bigger problem. I
But that
think
is
that is a
part of the
bigger
problem.
problem than going to buy Cheetos and Doritos.
Yeah, but they are trying to take care of that as well. They're doing two things. They're doing more than one thing. What you just said is why a lot of people's benefits are getting either reduced or being taken away. It's for exactly what you just said. But even with that, if you only get $100 now, you still can't buy junk food with it. Right?
Hey,
That's what I'm
R-Pain,
saying. So those are two different kind of
R-Pain,
issues. Yes.
you are a grown ass man. You are a grown ass motherfucking man,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Even
Yes.
even at your worst, when you was at your
Yeah.
bottom and wasn't making a lot of money, was there
Right.
ever a point where somebody can come and tell you what the fuck you allowed to eat?
Not if they can. If I'm using my own money, no. But if I'm taking money from somebody, you lose your degrees of freedom. Listen, here's my thing. If you got to take money from anybody, the state or anybody else, what makes you think you should have complete autonomy when I'm giving you shit? That's the real point. I'm giving you money from the taxpayers, and along with that is my rider that you could use this for this, and you could use that for that. But like before, remember you couldn't buy cigarettes with this shit before. Back, maybe not in your day. I remember people couldn't buy cigarettes or some shit with their food stamps or anything like that. I think then they eased it
Hey,
up, and
man,
then they came back. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying you, if I'm giving you a
see, that
dollar,
is it.
I will.
So now,
Yeah.
what I do dislike is that
Okay.
now we're putting things together that don't belong together. Because like that, like somebody buying cigarettes on food stamps,
Yeah.
that's not a program problem. The store that sold those cigarettes did some illegal
Yeah.
shit.
But yeah, I
That
didn't want to go
we're
down that
now we're
alley,
putting
but
some
yeah,
shit together.
but
You see what I'm
still,
saying? Like now we're putting some shit together that don't belong together, right? Don't get mad at the person with the food stamp card that bought the cigarettes with the food stamp when the store did the illegal.
but can he
The
use
store
the
was
same
supposed
argument
to say
though?
no, I can't do that.
But Watts, he can use your same argument. I'm a grown fucking man. Why can't I use this for what I need? I don't want to eat right now. I want to smoke.
No,
Here's a yeah
because again, the food stamps there
for food.
are, like you said,
Right.
there are parameters that are set on this benefit. I
Okay.
told you what
There
you
you
are
go.
and are not allowed to buy.
That's
The
right.
store that accepts EBT, right? So
And
when
that's
they
a
put that
mistake. Right.
system inside of that store for
Right.
them to receive EBT, they receive some type of training or information on what they allowed
I,
and not
I, I
allowed to
agree
do.
with you.
When that
Okay.
store decided to do some illegal shit, it's on the store.
No,
A
I agree
degenerate
with
is
you.
going to do degenerate shit, but someone who
Okay.
enables it,
Okay.
that's a different problem.
Okay. So okay. So here's my thing. I think that sometimes when they ask the black community, because white people are guilty of this, that you have to elevate. You want this benefit. You want this. It's not an entitlement. You want this handout. You want because you need help from me. Here's the strings that come along with it. You can only argue so much, but if the strings that come along with it somehow make you a better uh, steward of the health of your children, that's not a bad thing. Because if you could still buy the soda, you could still buy the Twinkie and a honey bun and all that shit. You just got to use the dollars out of your own pocket. And so that would make you budget it because your money's tight anyway. But you know what? I want to treat my kid for something. Shit, I got to come out of my pocket. I'm getting $1,000 for food stamp, and I'm filling my coffers with good shit, right? But for my kid, I'm gonna take the 20 out of my pocket from work, and I'm gonna buy him some shit. And that's gonna make me regulate because I'm not gonna afford to just feed this guy until he becomes a behemoth, right? I want to feed him, so I'm gonna treat him every so often. But now I have to regulate that because I can't use my food stamps. I don't think that's a bad thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
it would just be a matter of it would just be a matter of what it looks like, right? And the reason I say that is because, for example, if let's say I have food stamps and I'm using it for what it needs to be used for, right?
right,
A great
right.
example of this is putting together a lunch. Like if my kids take a lunch to school, rather than eating the
Okay,
school lunch, I prepare their lunch for them, right?
okay.
I can give them a nice, decent meal. But with the food stamps, I'm probably gonna buy a pack of cookies or something to put in their lunchbox with a meal. They're probably gonna have a yogurt or some shit. Like I'm saying, like it would be a matter of what the fuck this regulation look like. Because these same people, because again, the problem also comes in the same people that are trying to regulate what kids are eating are also fat as fuck too.
Some of them,
Don't
yeah.
don't don't don't
But
keep
that's
eating a
okay.
McDonald's burger in my
Okay.
face telling me I need to be
Here's
losing weight. Like, come on, man.
all I'm just trying to say is that doesn't make it right just because you're a fat dude too, right? So now, listen, our kids are the ones because it starts young, right? For a lot of these kids. Now, my man Curtis agrees with me. Okay, you know, I just try to say, listen. But this is a good conversation because that's how what you're saying is exactly how some people feel, and but I think that goes into the good column for me. It's just that everybody doesn't agree, and people just don't agree.
And I get it. I'm just saying it's
Okay.
kind of hard. It's just kind of like just listening to it on the surface. Again, I would need to see what that looks like because for you to tell me that because I'm on food stamps, I'm not allowed to buy a pint of ice cream to eat as dessert for my like I'm not allowed to eat ice cream because I'm on food stamps and
You
I
know
don't
what?
have
I'm not.
$5 in
Yeah,
my pocket.
I'm
You're
not
telling me
so.
because I don't
Listen,
have
I'm
five
not
dollars
so
in my
sure
pocket,
ice
I'm not
cream's on the
allowed to.
list. I'm not so sure ice cream's on the list. By the way, I'm not so sure ice
See,
cream. I
that's
think
what
soda might be on the list, but I'm not so sure ice cream is on the list. I think they probably still can buy ice cream. I'm not sure. I don't have the list. Anyway,
I don't know what the list is. I haven't even looked at the
oh
list.
man, what's going on,
I
man?
haven't even looked at
Hey,
the list.
what's going on, champ? Shit, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's good?
All right, yeah, man. So you've been
This
around, so
man
you
got a
heard some of the
cigar bigger than
conversation.
his hand. That shit thicker than a motherfucker, bro. That shit thick as hell.
Look at
Man,
this. Wait, listen, man. It's an old army guy, man. Don't you all smoke cigars, man? Where's the cognac at, man?
hey
Where's the
man,
corn?
not on a Monday. That's
Yeah.
for Friday. That's for Friday
That's so
nights.
Friday. So you heard the conversation. What do you think about the restriction on the snap thing and stuff?
I mean, part of it I think is kind of wild. Just because I know how I grew up. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
we all.
Like, so I no, I was saying, so I agree with Watts. Like, like there was like days that, what I'm saying,
Okay.
that yeah, there's days that moms was like, yo, like, go to the corner store, pick up some, pick up a little quick little meal, a little sandwich with some chips and all that. You know what I'm saying? Go down there, pick up some head hog cheese, some
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
country stuff. But you know what I'm saying? It just was what it was. You would go down there, you had your little $2 in food stamps, and you just pick up what you pick up. You know what I mean? And it
But let
just
me ask
was
you,
like,
okay, but you see, this is my thing. But haven't we got to the point that we have to agree that we got an obesity problem and it starts young in the black community, especially, right? And in the poor communities, because the white people are
right.
the same way in the poor community. So, so if I'm gonna try to tackle that, I'm gonna try to tackle it from all angles, right? And that's one of them, right?
You
But I
said in
don't
the
know. I
black
don't have the
community?
list. I don't have the list of things that's prohibited. But I really don't. But I know like sodary drinks. I know that's one of them. But I'm
Yeah.
not so sure ice cream is. I'm not so sure chips are. I'm not so sure what the list is. I should have had that available. Uh,
Yeah.
but that's
I mean
interesting. Go ahead. Go
that's
ahead.
crazy. I mean, I think it just it did. Yeah, I mean, I think America overall has an obesity problem, but I don't think they're you. So are you trying to say they're cutting back because they feel like obesity's getting out of hand?
Oh, no,
Like,
no,
or
not,
are
not
they
because
just
it's
cutting back
already out
because
of hand, but I think the fact that they're restricting those kind of things that they know lead to childhood obesity, which is out of hand, right? They don't want to be a part of that. If you want to do it on your own, see, this is the thing. It's not like these people don't find money. If you still want to buy shit for your kids, you can. You just can't use the government the EBT for it.
I
So
think
that's my fallback. If you still want to feed your kid some of the worst shit that if they get attuned to eating junk food young, that's where that shit could stick with you for life.
yeah, but I mean, I think if it was like me, I mean, like that's tough to say. All right, you
Yeah,
can go to the store and get groceries, but you can't get fruit snacks for your kids. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. I'm
You
no, I'm
can
just
you
no, I'm
can
just
get food. You
I'm
can you
just
can, but you pay for it.
but it's food stamps, like, right? That's a snack. Like, why? Like, why? Now, if somebody going to the store and getting, you know what I'm saying, $200 worth of snacks, then okay.
You
But if I go to the store and I get, $300 worth of food, and I get $50 worth of snacks to be in my cupboard, or, like, for my kids, that shouldn't be no problem. Because when I get ready to go to school, like my kids get ready to go to school, like if I
you
want
want
to
this
send
over
them with
there.
a snack, or, this and this and this, I should, and I'm already getting the food stamps.
You know what? I didn't know we were going to talk about this so much the way this is, and it's good that there's some opposition to it, because I wish I would have had that video where they had the two big behemoth black women in the store getting saying, "I'm gonna make sure I get everything before they take my food stamps away," and all they were putting in the fucking thing was big boxes of shit that's bad for their children,
Yeah,
not just
no,
the small one.
that I would
But,
agree. I would disagree
I
with.
don't think that's an exception to the rule. I don't think that's an exception.
So you don't think
That's
when
why.
people,
Listen to me. I mean, but it's not just me. We all live
I
in it.
think
We
that
have
is
this.
an exception.
No,
I
no,
think
listen.
that isn't it. I don't think that's the
You
rule.
don't
I
think we
don't
have?
think every. No, RP.
it,
No,
it,
no, 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 no.
I
Are
was
we
about,
going to
hey,
try to
look,
say we don't have a childhood
Hell
obesity
no.
problem?
that's
Our
not
pain,
that,
our
that's
pain,
not,
our pain,
is that
our
the
pain. Here,
position
here,
that they're
check me
coming
out, check
from?
me out, check me out. Our pain.
Yeah, yeah.
Check me out, check me out. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening.
Hold on. There are there are way too many broke people that are scraping by with their food stamps to be playing bullshit games like that. No, no, they're the exception. To be honest with you, the exception are the people that are getting $1,200 and $1,500 in food stamps. The actual rule are people who are getting $400 or $500 or something like that to take care of their family. That's the rule. The exception are the people that are getting this wild shit because they know how to game the system, because they're
Right.
degenerates and they're going to do degenerate shit.
All right,
Facts.
but
And
why?
So the rule
That
is
strengthens
everybody
the
who's only
argument.
getting $400 or $500, they're going to do. They're not going to the store to fill up their
Okay,
cart full of chips and fucking
I
cookies.
grant you
No, these
that, but
motherfuckers are going to fill their freezer with
buy good
frozen meat.
food. They're not. So why waste your $400 on snacks and
the
shit that's
but
bad for the kids?
that's what he said. I think it's the exception to the rule too. And the reason why I think that is because think about any time that something was about to come to an end. Everybody went out and did whatever they had to do because they knew it was coming to an end.
Okay,
Like, you know
okay,
what I'm saying? I'm saying, to make a point. It's like, okay, I can't, like, they're gonna be cutting off, us being able to buy snacks. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna go buy a whole bunch of snacks right now before they go ahead and make this regulation. So my shit
okay,
is filled up and I ain't gotta worry about it. But then, like, now when they say, okay, no more snacks, I still got hella snacks in here that
yeah,
I
okay.
that we gonna be cool on.
All right. So the point really is right. The point is this: if we bring it back to even kill, right? If I'm giving you money, however much it is, I should be able to have a say on what you buy with it.
I
And
mean,
I mean that's
it's cool, but
listen.
I
If
think
you're
that
I
taking
you
kind of
money
feel
from
like
someone, I
I'm
mean,
not
you might not
I'm
like
not
it, but I mean, I don't understand what the argument is. If I'm giving you money, I have the right to tell you what you could buy with it. I mean, how could
don't.
that
No,
not
you
be
don't.
true? Yes, I
No, you
do.
don't. If
Then I
if
don't have
you
to
give
give
me,
you the
if you
money.
gave me, right, but if you gave me two
But
hundred dollars,
if I'm
if you
giving you
gave me
food
two hundred,
stamps, I'm giving
if
you a
you get, I'm
benefit.
saying, if you gave me $200 and to hold me over. Like, and I'm like, yo, our pain, I need $200 to last
Yeah,
me
that's not a
until.
good
I'm just
example,
saying,
though.
no, I'm saying it is because I'm saying, like, if I was like, yo, our pain, bro, I'm trying to fill up my fridge real quick. I need $200. I'm just saying,
I'm
could
gonna
you
give you two
say,
hundred dollars.
I'm
I'm gonna
saying,
give you $200.
okay, and then you gonna say, make sure you don't buy this, this, and this.
No, 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 no. Hold on, brother. If I'm gonna give you $200 and I'm not gonna tell you what to do with it, right? I'm gonna take your word for it. We're talking about government programs for the masses of people. That's not the
Mm-hmm.
same. That's not a good
Okay.
analogy. It's not a good analogy. Of course, I'm
So,
not gonna tell you. I'm not
so
gonna say to
RK,
you, champ. I'm not gonna say to you, Watts. I'm gonna give you some money, but I'm gonna tell you what. I'm not gonna do that. But if I have a program for the masses, I damn sure gonna have some restrictions on it. I can't go to the
They,
bank and borrow
they
money without some kind of criteria.
But they already have restrictions on it. You can't buy Pampers. You can't buy anything that's not edible. You can't buy. You can't go there.
And
You can't buy. Are those
so,
not
so they put some
restrictions?
more. So these are
I'm saying,
additional.
but I'm
These are
saying,
some,
I'm just yeah. But I get what you're saying. But at first you tried to frame it as if they were trying to do this because it's gonna help with childhood obesity. Like,
that's why they're
but
doing
I'm.
it.
So that's what they said. Those are the words that came out their mouth
That's
because I
just
never. I
part of
mean, I
why they're
never
doing.
heard it.
That's part of the new NHI program with Junior. That's the only reason why they're bringing it up.
So then
And
why do
that's what they're
so
bringing
then
up.
why
I mean, but
so
for us,
then why
you
I
guys
worked
live
at
in the same
okay,
black community as I do. I mean, we can move on for this because we ain't gonna come to an
I just
agreement.
wanted to ask a question. I just want to ask a
Yeah, yeah,
question then.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so then why so then to Watt's point, then why isn't school lunch better then? Then why I'm just no you have to at
Okay,
least
I guess
answer the
you gonna
question.
let me
I'm just
answer.
saying like, yeah, because you were about to say I don't think I mean it
No,
looks like you was about to
no,
say
no,
like
you ain't
yo
let me say. How you
you
gonna tell
it
me
looked
what I'm
like
gonna
you was
say,
because it looked like you was
brother?
about to say I don't think it's the same. But
No,
I'm
no, I
saying that
wasn't
I
gonna
work
say
in a
that.
high
I wasn't.
school
I
and it
wasn't gonna
look
say that.
and they don't even cook. They don't even cook. At least like when we went to high school, they at least cook food. They don't even do that no more.
Hold on for a second. The EBT program and all of that is not the same program from the Department of Education that feeds people. So if there's a difference or a variation on how the food gets delivered there in school, that's a different program. I mean, don't beat up the messenger for that. It's not the
No,
same thing. Hold on,
okay,
I
bro.
was just
What's up,
asking.
brother? We got another brother here, man. What's going on, man? What's happening?
okay. All right,
Well, all
real
right, go
real
ahead.
quick.
Go ahead.
So real quick. The problem here is when you're creating this program and saying I'm creating these restrictions with the intention of this. My intention is to try and help kids be healthier.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
instead of this, because this is the same group that is giving that money is the same group that regulates the same group that gives that money is the same group that regulates what goes into the food. So you're telling me that you would rather focus on telling me what I can buy rather than focusing on how the food gets made, what's in those chips, what's in the cereal. You would rather focus on telling me
You
not
do
to
know
buy the fucking
you
soda
don't
rather
know,
than
but you
telling the
do.
company to stop putting the bullshit in the soda.
But you do know part of the program that's out there is to get those dyes and those chemicals out of our food sources. That's actually part of the charge that RFK Jr. is doing. We're making some of those dyes and those chemicals, getting fluoride out of the water. All that shit is part of it. So these are the connections that we're trying to make. So we were so and you're right, everything can be connected because it's one administration. Now, here's another thing with school food, right? Depending on where you live, all food ain't the same. If I live in a high tax area, I can guarantee you the food that those freaking kids are getting in their school is better than the one in the inner city. Oh,
Hell
you're gonna
no.
tell me no. You're
Hell
gonna
no.
tell me no.
I work at our pain. I worked at a high school here in Colorado, bro. It's like
Okay,
I'm saying it's one of the top five education states here in the
okay,
US. And I'm
okay.
just saying, like the school that I worked at, you talking about kids coming to school with 70, $80,000 cars. You know what I'm saying? Their
Okay.
parents picking them up in Bugattis and shit.
All right.
And they do not like the cafeteria workers don't cook. Like they bring food in, the kids come in, throw it in a microwave, and that's it. That's
Well,
their
okay. So
lunch.
so okay. All right. So is it cookies or is it food?
It's like it's just regular shit, like sandwiches, all that shit, like almost like sack lunch, low key. You know what I'm saying? Or they give them some nuggets and shit. They can buy the extra shit, right? They can
Okay.
go over there to the grill and buy a
All right,
burger and all that. But
okay, but
I'm saying
is
that
it
the
just
free
snack
lunch that they
food?
give, I'm saying that the free lunch that they give is just straight up like
All right, so
bullshit.
but okay, but we're trying to prove a point by going all over the place. Is it snack food that they're
No,
getting? They're
I
getting all
answered
kinds
the
of food.
question.
All I'm just trying to say is, listen. I didn't know. I'm glad I'm glad I have something that we could actually go ahead and dig into. But before we go
Yeah.
further, go ahead, brother. Then, brother Berlin. Man, what's up, man? How long you been around, man? What's your take on it? What's your take on what's
Uh,
going on? We're on the SNAP program, and does the government have the right to tell somebody what they could buy with the SNAP dollars and EBT? And in
well,
general sense, before you go, the general sense of this whole life is we're going through the good and the bad and the ugly of what Trump has done in the first 2 years. Okay, but this question right now is on the SNAP program and what they can do with what they can.
okay. So your question is, does the government have an incentive to? What was the question again that you had?
I said, does the government have the right to tell people what to do with the SNAP benefits that they get in terms of what to buy? Because they're taking some shit off the list, like junk food. If
I
you're
mean,
going to use
logically speaking, they do. They do have the right. If they're the ones providing the benefits, they do have the right to say what those benefits are. And this, I mean, that's just logical.
but should they?
And
Then the next question is, should they?
well, do we trust the government to care about what the overall positive health of the children is, or do we think that the government is more focused on capitalism and making money for the government?
Both. They could be both.
That's not true. No. It cannot be both,
No,
sir.
but no, yes, it can be. You're trying to say you can't have.
Sir, which one is it
Before you
most
go,
likely?
you just made a question. Let me answer it, and I'll go back to you. You're trying to tell me because we're capitalistic system that
I
we don't
haven't
give a shit
told you
about
anything. I just
children,
asked you questions and you haven't
and then
answered
you
them.
ain't
I
let me
haven't told
answer.
you
So I'm
anything. So
telling
if you
you
can answer
both.
the
And you guys,
questions,
I
then
said
we
both.
can have the conversation.
I said both. They could do both because we're capitalists. We hate our children. I don't agree with that.
I didn't say because you're capitalist. I said because of capitalistic system, which
That's
is the
right.
government more inclined. So again, which is the government more inclined to care about? The health of the children
Uh,
or feeding the capitalistic system?
Our government is they do both. They feed the capitalistic
Which one
system.
do they? Which one do they care most about, sir? I understand they do both, but which one do they care most
You know what?
about?
Okay, wait a minute. If I don't know, but they care more about it's
Let's
a
do some
trick bag
brain.
question,
We're
right?
just doing some
Because
brainstorming, sir.
okay.
Let's take a breath and think. I'll give you time. There's no rush. We're just having a conversation,
Don't be condescending, brother. Listen, the
sir. I'm not
fact
being
is,
condescending. I'm trying to make this.
the
Wait. You
fact is,
asked me a
we're a
question, and I'm trying to
capitalistic
make it go full
we're a
circle, and you're
capitalistic
not wanting to
system.
answer the questions for some
Everything
reason.
we do is capitalism. I don't think that is uh,
Okay. Since you're
a
not going
good
to have
way.
the conversation,
No,
then
no,
just let
no.
me speak.
Let me.
I've asked you multiple
Bro,
questions, and you haven't
you
answered
got
any, sir.
bro, you gotta wait. You gotta wait, bro. You gotta wait.
Listen, I'm gonna let you say all you want to say because I think the
What
question
I
you're
want
trying
to
to do
say is
is
questions to you that you
it's
won't
not a
answer. That's what
good
I want to
faith
say, sir.
question
I
because
want to ask questions.
I
Neely
think
Fuller
they could
says
do
that
both. I said,
all
okay, my
problems are
answer is they
solved through
could
the
do both.
process of questions and answers. So
They could
instead of
do
me coming
both.
here trying to
They
make a
could
bunch of
do both.
statements, I'd
They
rather
can
just ask
do
you the
both.
questions and
And
then
so
let
you're
it
not
unravel
listening. They could
itself.
do both. They could do both.
I know they
Because
can do both, sir. I've said
and that's
multiple
what they're
times they
doing.
can do both. I've asked which
Because
one do they
one
do the
thing,
most? Which
one
one do they
thing,
care the most
the
about?
conversation we're having is, which one? You're talking about everybody in the capitalistic system, or
You,
who you talking about? Who's
the
they? Tell me
government.
who's they.
I
Ask
said
me.
what
Tell me who's they. Who's they?
the
I care
government.
about.
You
I
asked
care about
you asked the
capitalism.
question was your
I say,
original question was what? Sir, we
yeah.
can go right back to it. What was your original question to
My
me?
original question is, you know, does the government have the right to restrict what you do using EBT? And
Okay,
you said
and I
that
said
makes sense.
yes.
And then I
You asked
asked
me a
you,
question. I
then I
said yes.
asked, then I asked you another question.
And then I followed up with another question to you. And you said it's both. I said, okay, you're right. It is both. Which one is it more of? Yes, the government maybe cares about
the health of children. And yes, the government also cares about feeding the capitalistic system with poisons that are in the food that are clearly not even allowed to be in other countries outside of America. But
Yeah,
because
okay.
those poisons are in the food, it feeds the capitalistic system. So which does the government care most about? That's a legitimate question to ask.
And I can't answer that because they're trying to get those poisons out of the
Then
food.
let me ask it to
They're
somebody
trying to,
else because you can't seem to answer it. I'll ask
yeah,
100 Watt the same question. Do you want to
okay.
answer that question, sir? I'm sure he
Hey,
actually has
hold
an
on,
answer.
real quick. If I could, real quick. Hey, Arpain, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
what you doing right now. It sounds like that boomer shit. Some of these young people be talking about, bro. Like you, because to be honest with you, I hear
okay.
what you're saying. They could do both, but we all know, like legitimately, if the government had to choose between saving $1 million or giving children legitimate food to eat at lunch, they would save the $1 million. We know that
And
to be the case.
Okay. Okay.
and I got a
And I feel like
question.
you're doing some OG old head shit where you're expecting the government to do what they said they're gonna do. Like you're doing some, trust the government, let them do their process, all that.
Oh,
Like,
no, I
nah,
didn't
fuck
say
all
that.
that. They are
No,
liars.
yeah, I'm not,
They care more
yeah,
about the money than the
everybody, yeah,
kid.
I hear you. I hear where you're
but not
going with
Thank
that.
you.
even
And you did that in less than 20 seconds. Thank you
but not
so much for
but
100
not
Watts for
even
answering the question.
but not even just that. I'm like, I'm not sure because I wasn't, maybe I may have missed it, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But when Obama was in office, didn't Michelle Obama run like she's tried to start the healthy school lunch,
yeah, yeah.
all that type of stuff. So did like Trump came in right after, is that something that he got rid of when he first came through?
I don't even think she
Because I
was.
know that they
Yeah,
was trying to get rid of all the, a lot of things that
I don't
Obama
even
done
think she was
before.
able to get it off the ground, even with Obama being in the White House. I think
Okay,
she got
we
a lot
should.
of opposition while she was in there for that. She got a lot of flack
Oh,
for that. All
got
right,
you.
so
Okay,
okay,
okay.
so let's get back on even kill. Thanks for that 100 watts. The truth of the matter is, I think that if we have all the information, and okay, the government is fucked up because they're capitalistic society, but they actually are trying to get all of those bad things out of some of our products. And I think that we can. There is a legitimate question there, brother. I just think that I know where you were trying to lead it, and I wasn't going to let you go there. But that's just on me.
Well, then that's
That,
not the
that,
art of
that,
conversation, sir.
that was
That means
a
you're not being that means
no.
you're
I,
being intellectually dishonest in the conversation, because if you're thinking that I'm trying to go somewhere without even letting me get my point, then you're already trying to
the
facilitate
reason
where
why
the
the reason
conversation
why
is
I
going.
admitted it, brother, is because I'm gonna let you go where you want to go
No,
now.
that's
That's why
the
I
problem
admitted
that a
it.
lot of young people have with having these kind of conversations with older people. I'll say this, and then we can move on.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Um, okay, when you're thinking about really rural, poor areas of America, a lot of those places don't have grocery stores even near them. Think about reservations. Think about trailer
Okay,
parks, and there's kids
okay,
in those areas. So they have purposely redlined grocery stores away from those areas. Same thing with reservations. Same now, not so much in the hood. You can get some fresh food in certain places because our
okay,
infrastructure is different. But again, I'm talking about lower class. I'm talking about rural places where it's like in the middle of damn near nowhere. Those
okay.
people live off of grocery stores. In reservations, they don't even let fresh food come near reservations. They only have grocery stores and liquor stores. So for those people, how are they supposed to get the fresh fruit and the fresh vegetables that now the EBT is saying that you can't get anywhere else?
Listen, man. You know what? We're gonna always have haves and haves not. I don't know how. I know. Listen, and you might not like the answer. I can't answer that. This
Well,
fucked
then,
up.
so what do we do about
So
those
so
people?
well, hold on. So it's fucked up.
You're
I
completely
can grant
forgetting
you that.
about them. And
I'm not forgetting about them.
yes,
Hold on
you
a
are,
second.
sir.
Why am I
Because
forgetting? You asked that question.
if they don't have automobiles or any way to get to
But,
grocery stores to get fresh food, then what
but
kind of
before
food is
we
being offered to them?
well, hold on for
Convenience
a second.
store junk food.
Well,
I
hold on
got you.
before we
That's
go.
what they've done to
Before we
reservations
go
for the
to the
last 50
extreme,
years.
can we? Oh, so we're going to the extremes of the country because
That's
you
not
want
an
to.
extreme. That is an actual reality in this country
So we'll
today,
go to the
sir.
extreme. It's a reality, but it's
Being
extreme
that
to the
poor
common.
is extreme.
Yeah, hold
Well,
on. Hold on for a
okay, that's
second.
fine. That's
Hold on
extreme
for a
poverty.
second. Let's
Why are we
start from
forgetting
what we
them?
know. I'm not forgetting them, but
We don't know anything. You said earlier about we have all the information. We'll never get all the
I,
information from
I
the
didn't say
government
we
about these
have
kinds
all
of things.
information. You
No,
talked about
sir, we
food
do not
medicine.
have all the information. They
I
hide,
didn't say we
they
have all the
hide so much
information.
from us. You think we have all the information, sir? Really?
No, I didn't say that. But hold on for a
You
second.
literally just said we have all the information.
No. I said we didn't talk about all the information. So maybe you misunderstand. I know we don't have all the information. The fact is, and this ain't boomer shit. You went from the government cares about just fucking capitalism to all the way to the reservations of the fucking Indians.
I asked you which. You're misrepresenting my points because you didn't listen correctly. I didn't say that the government only cares about capitalistic things. I asked which one do they care about more.
We answered that. You got your answer.
No, we did not answer that. 100 Watt answered that, and Cheap Talk didn't answer that, and you pussyfooted all around the fucking question. You didn't answer hardly any of it.
That's Champ talking. You didn't ask me the question. But what
I was wanting to, but again, Mr. Payne seems to not want the conversation to go there, even though he doesn't want to answer the question.
No, but
the question has already been answered. You accepted.
He just said he didn't answer it. So what are you talking about, sir? He didn't even get a chance to answer the question. So who answered the question?
It's cool because
I'm here to argue with me or not. The 100 watts.
No, I came up here to have a conversation, and since you want, I came here to have a conversation, but because you are afraid to answer questions, you made the argument, not me.
Bro, we gotta have a conversation.
Let me try it somewhere. 100 Watt. Is he afraid to answer questions? It seems to you, because I can't seem to get through to him. So I'll ask somebody else.
No. We gotta have a conversation.
No, sir. I'm not talking to you right now. I'm talking 100 watts. 100 watts. Is he afraid to answer questions?
Man, you don't run here, man. Shut the fuck up.
Who this nigga talking to?
Who you talking to?
Man, dang.
I mean, when you have your own show, you can say all the fucking shit you want to say, but you ain't saying that to me, man. I don't give a shit if I'm right or wrong. You ain't disrespecting me, man. Fuck that.
Let them know.
Hey, hell with that.
Payne, listen, I know how you feeling, but this I did want to say I looked it up, so it did get passed in the state and the Senate with Michelle Obama stuff, but it wasn't. It was sponsored by Senator Blanche, and so but it did pass. And then when Trump came in, they rolled back regulations. So they rolled back regulations for the healthy lunch. So my only reason for bringing that up is to say you can't when you're saying that they care about childhood obesity, you can't say that if they roll back regulations or also so maybe they didn't care about it then. Maybe it was just to get rid of shit that Obama and them was doing or whatever. And then they could have and then now they could say, okay, maybe the shit is getting even more out of hand. Let's care about it now. But I just don't see that.
Biden didn't bring it back. Biden didn't bring it back.
Because Biden, but he didn't roll it back. It just stayed in place.
I'm saying, but yeah, let's say Trump rolled it all back because he hated Obama, correct? He took care, right? But Biden had a chance to bring it back, or something similar to it, but he didn't do it.
Trump didn't roll it back because he hated Obama. Trump rolled it back because the people who control him told him they wanted more money from this sector. It has nothing to do with him hating Obama. The government, the president is just a puppet. The people above him are the ones that told him, hey, we want money, take the money from this, and that was what happened. It has nothing to do with Trump hating Obama.
Trump hates Obama. He certainly does.
I'm talking about the reason for the rollback of the benefits. It has nothing to do with Trump hating Obama. It's what the handlers wanted from him. It's that simple. We keep having these governmental arguments as if both sides aren't eating at the same table, degrading the people of the poor.
I agree with you.
They don't care.
I agree with you there. I agree with you there. I do agree with that. All right. So we can't get past this shit on the list. We can't get past. I had a whole list of it.
Hey, I just came to say what's up, man.
This is cool. I don't mind this. I don't mind this, man. Listen, man. Hey, fucking.
You clearly minded. You told me to shut the fuck up, and then you said I disrespected you.
Bro,
you minded.
You know what, bro? I was just gonna say, man, I apologize to you. You know what I'm saying? So, and let's move on. That's what I was just gonna say before you said that. I was gonna say, man,
damn our pain, man. These boomers, Watts.
let's just move on, man. I wanted to hit some other shit that we were talking about, but listen, okay. So let me throw this out at you, and with the mindset that you have and we all have. What did y'all think about Doge? Is that on the good, the bad, or the ugly list?
I feel like To be honest, I feel like it's a mixed review, but I feel like it is a it's a situation where I feel like a lot of things have not come out yet. So like you really don't know. Like they said they found all this fraud. We still haven't heard about it. We still haven't heard how much fraud and how much money was being lost and sent here and doing this and this. We still don't know any of that because more than likely they not gonna be able to tell us because more than likely the people involved in it may be high as hell up. So where did all the fraud mysteriously go? Like why have we not really heard too much about it? It's just kind of like Doge kind of just came in. Oh, we're gonna cut people from the VA. We're gonna cut workers from the VA. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We found all this fraud, and then all of a sudden, boom.
I agree. They have not come out. I know USID. They said a lot of things that they were doing. You either believe that or not, or what they put out there.
Well, with the condoms and shit, but that like, come on now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm talking about real money. It was a big. There was just a big a fraud thing. I didn't capture that one. That just recently came to the news that they had like $55 million or $1 billion going somewhere out of USAID. That was just on the news just recently. So I'm just saying. But you're right. It's a mixed bag because of the disclosure, right? Some things you can believe, some things you don't. That's what on my bad list. I think the Republicans have been selling a lot of wolf tickets, but I haven't seen any perk walks anywhere. And that part,
Right.
where's the perk walks? Where the hell is the perk walk? So I think the Doge was a good thing because we all know that there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse. Have they disclosed all of it, or like you said, any of it? I think some has been disclosed. I think USAID has enough information on it that we said they were doing some F shit out there. That needed to
They
be
said they
stopped.
were buying condoms for Africa or some shit,
They,
right? Is that what you trying to
yes.
say? Like that was the
I think
fraud.
there was
That was
some
the
more. There
fraud.
was some more deeper shit than just condoms for Africa, but there was a whole laundry list of stuff, and I don't have to go. You're either going to believe that list or you're not. It's as simple as that. So, Title IX. Let's talk about something more substantive, right? I think the protections of Title IX is important. Right, I was young when the women fought for Title IX so they can get scholarships and sports and shit. And then when the Democrats came in and wanted to give it to men in dresses and shit like that, I thought that was fucked up. So that thing is stopped, or as best he can, and he's fighting with some of the sanctuary, the Democratic states over men in women's sports. I think they should be eradicated from women's sports. That's just me. But you guys
Yeah.
say what y'all think about that.
I think that's a logical. What you said is 100% logical. Um, in the 80s, I remember Title IX coming in, and the women's sports and like where I was from, Langston University, like women's sports insanely struggled, and they were kind of needed to be paired with men's sports to kind of get increase their watches, their fans, and their revenue. And so that's only been happening for like let's say almost 40 years.
Yes.
They still need time to build that. And they've now getting undercut from competition from people who are from that time 2 generations away from being born, and they're saying that they're biologically women when they're born men, and they're cutting into that. It makes no logical sense. This league is still forming. This league still needs support. And for you to undercut the women of that league with a new product for this sport, you have to understand that it's going to take away from the women's resources. So if the intention is to help the women, which what it was in the early 80s, about getting the same opportunities to go to university from doing sports the same way that men were getting those same opportunities to come to university and get the opportunity to get educated through sport, then you cannot let so-called biologically born men who turned women get those same benefits, because that's taken away from some women getting those benefits. It just logically doesn't make sense. If you want to
Nick,
add more money and say this is for trans people and this is their pot for getting benefits into the Title IX, that's great. Do that. But you do not let them come into the women's league and take away from their popularity. And now the person who's a trans swimmer is popularity wise way more known than the number one women's swimmer. it completely undercuts what the intentional goal was supposed to be.
There you go.
Hey, hey, Plain Watts, I got a question for y'all real quick though, because
Good.
it's pretty much along the same line, right? And bro, Berlin, you can answer this too, but so I seen that there was some Air Force people, like some Air Force airmen and stuff like that. They were getting ready to retire, and they could apply for early retirement. And because they were trans, they revoked their early retirement. So like because they started to identify as trans later on in their service, they revoked their retirement. Like,
And just kicked
that's
them out.
crazy,
And
right?
just kicked them out.
They
Or
can, yeah, they're getting out, but they so like you can apply for early retirement, right?
okay.
And so but then they said that they're going to kick the trans people out of the military.
Right. I know
So
that.
some of them in the Air Force started just being like, yo, I'm going to apply for my early retirement. I've been in 15, 16 years, and you normally can sell back like 2 years and then you can retire. And
Okay.
so they told them, they denied them and said that you just got to get out.
And so they're not going to
Yeah,
get no retirement, no retirement at all. Wow. I think that's so.
that's doubtful. They'll get some retirement, but not the amount of benefits that they were expecting.
Hmm.
They said they're a new person now, so I mean, technically, hey, the English language is a language of Pocahontasm and forked tongues. So this lawyer talk, they are allowed to use it, and they use it on everybody. So if these people said, well, I'm a new person, I changed, then the government will say, oh, okay, you did change, but you changed, and now you don't. You're a new identity. So we have to treat you like a new identity. So they're just playing
I'm
their own words
thinking,
against them.
I'm
Okay.
thinking about it from from the perspective of going through the process, right? Once you get out, having to go through the VA, getting your separation, your disability, getting service connected, and all that other kind of stuff. I'm already seeing how they made that process difficult for themselves by going through that transition, because now all of these departments are going to be able to say all of the symptoms that you're facing are from you going through the transition.
Yeah.
Like if you
Right.
were taking hormones, like now they're gonna be able to say, no, that's not service connected because you were taking hormones while, yeah, no. So they just made it kind of difficult
But
for themselves,
but
unfortunately for them, because the rules haven't
right,
changed. Whether you like it or not, the rules have not changed to fit what you're trying to do. And
right,
because the
right.
rules have not changed, you're going to have to suffer the consequences of you making the decision to do that while you were in the military.
But
You
that's
especially if you've been in for when you've been in for 15 years, you know how that game is played. You're not
Right.
stupid. You know how that game
Yeah.
go. And when you
Yes.
did 15 years and decided to play the game you did anyway, you crapped out, cuz you hit on a 17. That's what you did. You hit on a 17 and you didn't have to.
You
There
hit
you
on
go.
a soft 18. You should have just played the game, got your retirement, and then tra la 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 la.
but
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 you try.
but you don't but if you were in 2012 and you and and this wasn't the situation and you was like, yo, like I feel like I was born a woman, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, and listen, and I don't advocate for that. That's not the life I live, or nobody
No, no,
around me
no.
live.
Hey, man, go ahead.
But I'm just talking about on the aspect of servicemen and women. Like if you've been overseas, you served your country, you know what I'm saying? No matter, and then you decided to change, no matter how you feel like changing, whatever. Now, the as far as your retirement, I don't feel like the retirement. Now, Watts brings up the VA benefits because those are different. Like I feel like that's a different story. But if you just served 16, 15, 16 years
Yeah.
and you put in for your retirement, you should be able to get that. Now,
But
as far as the VA benefits, because they're different, that's a different
what
set.
do you mean
Like,
by different? What do you mean by
because
different?
you can be you like so like when you retire, um there you can get 100% from the VA. Like me, I got 100% from the VA without retiring. So
Okay.
like when you retire, a lot you end up going through the VA anyway to get like the extra medical care and all that good
Right.
stuff like that. But like when you retire, you still get like TRICARE. You still get those type of things
Okay.
that still that covers your family and stuff for medical for life pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you just get out and you get 100% from the VA, you don't get TRICARE. You don't get that for your family.
No.
You get what they call as champ VA, and it's not the same. You know what I
All
mean?
right,
Stuff like that.
but the point is that, right, being a transition man, right, your medical bills is going to be a whole lot more costly than if you just left as a man. I mean, it's crazy. If they open the door like that and the floodgates to people who want to transition, it's like definitely gaming the system. So
Yeah,
because
because essentially it's going to be people who then people will come to the military to do it maybe 5 years and then say, "Oh,
yeah,
I discovered something different," and then the
yeah,
military is going to be liable to have to pay for it. They're not
yeah.
heterosexual straight men for the last 50 years have had enough issues with the VA system. I'm pretty sure you all can attest to that.
Yes.
So again, how do we think that this group of people are going to come in and not have any problems with the VA system?
Yeah.
Everyone has
Oh,
problems with the VA system
oh yeah, for sure.
since the Vietnam War and even before. So
Yeah.
they're trying to use their privilege that they get now in society to now try to force the VA system to adhere to. And the VA system's like, no, no, no. We have a fine oiled machine working here where we can not help our veterans the way that we're supposed to, the way we should be helping our veterans. So why do you think we're going to help you more than we're not even helping them?
There you go. Let me kind of just keep moving on because I know we're going to have a time limit coming up. What about the fact that he's and this? We're still on the good list because I want to get to the bad one too. But this one is about him promising to get rid of sexual mutilation of children. That so-called gender affirming care. I think that's one of the things that I thought that was on the top. That I agree with Trump with 100%. I don't think that just because your kid woke up at three years old says, you know what, I feel like a doll instead of a GI Joe, we're going to start cutting parts off and giving them puberty blockers and shit like that. I think that's some crazy shit. So I'm glad that stopped. And there's a whole list of organizations that have promised that have ceased those kind of operations because the medical field started to say this is a new cash cow. This is a new cash cow, billions and billions of dollars. Let's treat people for shit that they shouldn't be treated for, or make, the whole point is they should be 18 and older. Then you can do what the hell you want. And that's a different story. But anyway,
I think
so
it
what do
is
y'all think
crazy.
about that?
It's crazy. It's crazy that you can you will tell someone you have to be 21 to buy alcohol, but you can be a minor to mutilate your body. That is wild as fuck to me.
Without your parents' permission.
You can be a teenager and take these hormones that is going to destroy your body at a teenage age. But in order for you to go buy a vape that is also fucking up your body, you have to be 21.
It's just crazy. Any
Our
thoughts
pain.
on
The
that,
hardest
bro?
part is not just doing it without the parents. If the parents know about it and have a problem with it, there's nothing the parents can do about
They
it.
do. Yes.
That's
Crazy.
the issue.
That's just crazy.
That's my papa said about indoctrination is a wonderful and scary thing if you don't understand what you're being indoctrinated to. And there's a lot of indoctrination now. It's a new age of indoctrination, and people are not astral traveling and seeing the future of what this is going to cause. Everyone's just living in the now of this indoctrination, and we have not sat down with the people of this program and actually been able to have a conversation about where this leads, because it always leads to an argument. We need to be able to have a conversation with the people of this community and have a conversation to see where it's trying to go to without us arguing it, to get the true answers, and then we argue it. But for some reason, we have a hard time letting them expose themselves before we jump on them to try to attack their points.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I mean, it's it's kind of funny because a lot of us. I used to vote Democrat all the time, just like most black folks, all the way up until I actually voted for Hillary Clinton. I still can't believe I wrapped my head around that shit. But so I changed my somewhere around 3, 4, 5 years ago because I hated Biden, and I wasn't still feeling Trump. But when he started talking about what he wanted to do for this this particular term, especially in the way the country was running with all that ultra liberal shit, I said I can get behind it. When he started hitting the gender affirming care stuff, the borders and all that kind of stuff, man, you know what? That shit sounds pretty good to me. So when I argue with a lot of my family members, I don't argue with them anymore. But some of them don't even want to talk to me. I said, that's really crazy because it's not about Trump. It's about policy. It's what you could live with, you know, especially if you're younger. I mean, can you really live with some of the shit that was going on and what they wanted to do with, sexual transitions and we pay for it and all that, or unfettered immigration and stuff like that? Well, anyway, so I wanted to just keep going on. What about Trump's brokering these so-called peace deals? What do y'all think about some of that? Does he get credit? Is it all what it? Of course, the Israel-Iran 7-day war, whatever that was, the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. I thought that was a big deal, even though it was something in it for the United States, that's for sure. Cambodia and Thailand, India, Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, Egypt and Ethiopia. There's all these little skirmishes getting ready to happen, and he stepped in and used whatever leverage he used. Mostly it was a dollar leverage to at least get these people to just talk as opposed to fight. Now, the two big ones, of course, are still on is Ukraine and Russia. I don't think much of this meeting he's going to have with Putin. I think Putin is just having fun with him. I think he's never going to stop. And neither is Zelensky. That's just my sour note on that. And of course, the genocide in Gaza going on. I think those are two black marks. And the Gaza genocide is a black mark on all of America. So that's on my ugly list. And it's an ethnic cleansing as far as I'm concerned. Nobody can say it's not. It really is. I mean, people can say it's not, but that's my point on it. So these 6 deals that he has, I think that's a good thing. There's 2 outliers. The Russia war, I'm not so sure that that's going to be fixed anytime soon. But that's the one he said he would fix in day 1. So he's going to have to live with that. And of course, we're giving Israel all the weapons they can to cleanse their Gaza Strip. So I think that's a problem. I think that's a black mark on the whole world, by the way. But that's another story. So those are my ugly lists.
Which one is the black mark?
Well, the Israel thing, the Israel and Gaza, because even though that the retaliation for October 7th, I can see that, right? Even though I think there should be an investigation on why it happened in the first place. We're talking about the most guarded country in the face of the earth. How the hell did that happen? But unless you have a plan that's greater than 1,200 people. So how much retribution do you get for 1,200 people? Is that 100,000 enough? 200,000 enough? Wiping out everybody? And the Mossad is a really great organization for cherry picking the way they want to cherry pick. You mean that you can't get the Hamas guys that you want without blowing up everything on the Gaza Strip? So I have problems with that. So anyway, but that's a different conversation for a different day. So I think that's a black mark because America backed that. And I think that's bipartisan, by the way. I think if it was a Democrat or a Republican, we would have did the same thing. So that was one of my black. So I just jumped past, or so the tariffs I think was a good thing. We're starting to see money come back in. But if y'all want to talk about the wars and do you think it's legitimate that he should get the Nobel Prize and all that kind of stuff? And we don't spend a lot of time on that, but.
The part in particular, the peace treaties in Africa, I think is going to be one of those things that you can't really tell what kind of benefit it has. Like you have to sit around and wait. It's going to be 2-3 years from now before you can actually see what kind of benefit that really provided. Ukraine, okay. we might as well just leave that shit alone and mind our fucking business. Ain't nothing. There's really nothing that like America's going to do to stop that. I really don't think, unless we're going to get involved, and then that's a matter of picking sides. I really don't think there's anything, what's the word I'm looking for, like conversation wise. Like I don't think there's some kind of parlay.
Well, they're meeting this weekend. They're meeting this weekend, right? Putin's coming here to meet them this weekend. But it's bullshit, right? I mean, Putin's going to be talking to the same guy who's selling weapons to his enemy, right? So,
the whole thing's connected. I mean, look, as America, we are in debt to a lot of countries, and what we can sell is weapons. we've been selling weapons
forever
since the beginning of the U.S. military, with us being a superpower. So that's why sometimes it seems like the American government and military has facilitated wars in places that didn't even need to be involved with us, because we needed to sell these weapons. So we always will have an incentive of this Ukraine and Russian war. And when they have their meetings, they're going to be sitting and smiling and figuring out how to continue this, where Ukraine is getting all the money. I mean, Ukraine is giving the money to America. America is giving the weapons to Ukraine, and Russia is getting its money and power for starting the war in the first place. It's all connected. They eat at the same table. They plan these things, and they smile as the poor people suffer the consequences of this.
Yeah, well, yeah, there we have it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens this weekend when they have this conversation, blowing smoke up each other's ass on this one. But I don't think Putin's going to back down. They said the death toll is already over 1 million for Russians. I also have my theory about the North Koreans giving up a whole bunch of troops to them, and he put them on the front line. So I think it was maybe 30,000 troops or some shit like that. It's a lot. He gave them a lot of troops. And I think this is my theory. This is crazy theory. But I think what the leader of North Korea gave up those troops because it's less mouths to feed. If those guys don't come back, I think he'd be happy, because now he doesn't have to fund, because they're really starving in that country, pretty much. So they can't even keep the electricity on all night. So I just
they can. They just choose not to. They can.
Okay.
North Korea has the infrastructure, if they wanted to provide electricity to its people. They just don't want to.
Yeah. Why would you think they don't want to? Just for control?
Yes.
Okay.
They have a completely different system over there. If they provided people with electricity, it's going to lead to more revolts. It's going to lead to them having more access to exposing this evil government. So why would you give the people the tools to expose yourself?
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So listen. Okay. So what's the bad things that Trump is doing? Anybody got some suggestions? What's the bad stuff? I mean, I had the military support to Israel and Ukraine. I have an issue with that. How about just him being an egotistical maniac and dealing in hubris? Right? He's got a fair amount of hubris. The guy really has a overinflated ego of self-worth. So,
which president didn't have that?
I was going to say. So, do you think? So, you wouldn't just say that's not a negative for him? That's just the way it is.
We said the same thing about Bush Jr. Okay. we said the same thing. We said every single president has had that narrative put on them, so there's no reason to. It's like people will say, like, "Oh, Donald Trump's a racist." And I would just always ask them this question: which president wasn't a racist? And people will they won't answer that question when it's. I understand that you say Donald Trump is a racist. Which president wasn't? Was Bill Clinton a racist? Clearly he was. Was George Bush a racist? Yes. Was George Bush Sr. a racist? Yes. Was Ronald Reagan a racist? Yes.
Yeah.
Was Jimmy Carter? Not so much, but he maybe had something. He didn't really.
Joe Biden was a racist.
Jimmy Carter was a little bit different. Joe Biden, absolutely a racist.
Yes, definitely.
So when people try to, well, Donald Trump's racist. Okay, I'm not disputing that, but which president wasn't?
So, what would you say about Barack Obama? Right? Do you think he was?
I think people of brown skin outside of our complexion, people who are Arab and Muslim and Syrian, they have a strong case of saying that Obama is a racist to them because he has caused an insurmountable amount of death in their community.
No, there's absolutely no doubt about it.
So us as black people might say, well, Obama's not racist, but those people who are getting bombs dropped on them all the fucking time, they have a legitimate gripe to say that Obama might be a racist to them.
He got such a pass for that, man. He killed so many people, man.
Well, I mean, yeah, because white supremacy didn't want to have white presidents being the ones holding that remote. It says we did that. Let's put this person of color in this position, and he can do that.
Man, he did it. What about
He
the
did
way
it
they?
well.
Yeah, he did. What about the way they market the deportations? It's subtle, but I thought the Republicans should have never. And I'm in a bad little thing here. Something I think they did poorly. I don't think they should have ever marketed deporting by saying, by giving the impression to the opposition that they're only going to go after bad guys. Actually, they want to go after everybody who's out of compliance with the immigration policies. If they catch you, you're subject to deportation. Your visa's over, and you're still here. You're on some of these programs that are being canceled. Whether you committed a crime or not, the crime is actually being here or overstaying your visa or your welcome and not leaving. So you're subject. But the way it's been marketed is that they would only go after hardened criminals, and the subtlety of saying, yeah, that's not the only thing. We're going to also go out of people out of compliance. Has given it's given a pathway for the detractors to say they're going against their word, as if you could just stay here if you don't commit a crime and be undocumented, and that's not true. So I just think the Republicans marketed it the wrong way. They should have just came out and say, listen, if you don't have your shit in order, we could deport you.
You're expecting the governmental side to do something they never did. Like, Republican or Democrat, they never come out and say what they really are trying to say. Everything they do. So why are you expecting that?
But that's why it's on the bad list. It's not that. That's why it's on the bad list. Whether I expected it or not, I just think that was something they could do because it wouldn't have hurt them. Because
it absolutely does. The truth hurts them. It does hurt them to tell the truth.
Well, you don't think they're getting hurt now? No, not hurt might not be the right word. They got a lot of angst right now because of what they said, right? Oh, this guy's not a criminal and shit, or this woman's been here for 20 years, but she's not in compliance. She's got kids and friends. We shouldn't deport her. So there's a lot of bleeding heart liberals out there, or just bleeding hearts, period. We got a lot of bleeding hearts.
Sorry, go ahead, 100 Watt.
I think a great analogy to what's happening with the immigrants is like a DUI checkpoint. Like when you go to a DUI checkpoint, just because you weren't drunk driving doesn't mean you can't get a ticket for driving without a license. Like they can still give you a ticket for driving without a license if you were sober. So just because you weren't a criminal and you didn't have a history of doing bad things, just because you didn't fit that mold doesn't mean that because you're out of compliance, you still can't get your ass sent home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When you did that paperwork, they told you had a certain amount of time before this ran out when you would have to re-up. And if you don't re-up, you are now driving on a suspended driver's license. That's pretty much how I look at it.
I like your analogy, but I think I put it where it's like you were driving by a DUI checkpoint and your tail light was broken. You can't get mad that you're getting a ticket for having your taillight broken. Like you're for DUI. No, we understand we're supposed to be checking for drunk people, but we found something else that's a problem, and we're gonna go ahead and give you that and people would be mad. Like, I'm not drunk. This like it doesn't matter. You still did something wrong, so there's still a penalty. Yes, we were looking for something else, but we noticed this. So you don't get to get skirted off because we were looking for one thing and we didn't find it, but we found something else. So you think you should just get away with it? Like, no, you're doing shit the wrong way, and you got caught. So what are the consequences of that? If the consequences are you get deported, then damn, you got caught. If the consequences are you got to pay and do a whole bunch, then that's the consequence. Unfortunately, if you're not understanding the decisions you make to be an illegal come with consequences, then maybe you need to move differently. Like, okay, I'm doing this. Maybe I just need to not drive. Maybe I need to have a life where I'm on a bike. Like, if you're going to try to beat the system, you need to try to beat the system the entire way. You can't pussyfoot with it and then start crying when you get caught.
Yeah, I don't disagree. All right, so listen, it is what it is. They came about it the same day. I think they're going about it the right way. They're getting a lot of pushback, but I expected that because the Democrats need those immigrants here for votes. But anyway, how about the Epstein shit? We don't spend a whole lot of time on it. How much weight do you give that thing? The only problem I have is it just a chick, Ghislaine, and Epstein who fooled around with these kids? Or if not, where are the rest of the perps at?
What do you really think, sir?
I know that they're protecting people. What I'm saying is then why make it such? I mean, nobody else made it issue. The Democrats never made it issue. They should have never promised this shit when he stood up there and said I was going to release these files. Should have never promised that.
They had to win an election, sir. That's how elections are won.
Yeah,
They
no, but
galvanize the people of like, oh wow, if we vote for this person, he'll expose the system, which is what needed to happen. That it needs to be exposed. So he galvanized the Republican voters with, I'm gonna expose it, and then
you think he would have won without saying that shit? And he had a lot of other things on his docket. You think that was that important to the voters? Epstein?
Yes.
Okay.
You appeal to the empathy of the human soul. You appeal to people's empathy of these kids are getting degraded, and you appeal to the people's heartstrings that we're going to expose the people who hurt these children. So, and then you go back on that. That's a different type of evil, sir.
What you say? What you say? What do you think?
I agree. There's not many things that people in this country agree on, but playing with kids is one thing that most of us agree with. Like there's a minority of people that disagree, and that's because they deserve to get their ass beat because they fit into the group of people that's So when that particular thing is the one thing that most people in this country can agree on, and that's easy. That's easy to get people riled up and say, yo, I heard they over there doing some crazy shit. Yo, I'm gonna go find out who it is and we're gonna put them in jail. And then when you find out that you said that because you're on the list of people that's there playing around in the house, even if you weren't playing with them directly, you was in the same house, you know what I'm saying? And now you're gonna try and release the files because your name got redacted? Nah, bro.
But here's my thing, but my thing, I can't get past that. They started floating, trying to get this chick some kind of pardon. I know that's not going to happen, but how could nobody else, even some low hanging fruit, with all of this sex trafficking they were doing, there's no perpetrators, nobody in indictment, nobody, just Epstein and this chick. That shit doesn't even sound right. You know what I'm saying? I could just,
and no one's connecting the dot to the huge Hollywood fire was really just a paper trail burning.
Huh.
That's all that was. It was insurance.
I know
it was an insurance scam and a paper trail burning.
Okay.
So people could not
find it. So, does anybody really believe that he committed suicide?
Of course not. That's why it's a joke.
It's just so crazy, man. I mean, they're hiding right in plain sight.
It's not crazy. It's logical when you really understand how the system works. It's so logical when you start understanding why they do what they do.
Without reprisal, and like I said, this shit, like you said, is on both sides of the aisle. They all go to the same club, So I can dig that. So
they both worship the same God, and they both worship the same devil. Money and satanic rituals. Like both sides are playing both sides.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So there you have it. So like I said, I know some people say, I'm gonna come up here and praise Trump. No. The real ugly part, the things I think is really ugly, is the ethnic cleansing that's going on in front of the world. I think the world's going to take a big hit for this. And I think this push against anti-Semitism is because of recognition that people are really pissed at Israel for this. People are really pissed. They're going to have a lot of angst and trouble coming out from under this one. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to.
No, not really. We're gonna get fed distractions and forget all about it. That's how the machine works.
Okay, so let me ask you this: you don't think it's going to come rushing back when Trump puts a tower right there on the Gaza Strip?
No.
A hotel and no Palestinians can come into that whole town and all that shit, because that's exactly what they're doing.
There'll be a hoopla, but they'll get drowned out with the machine.
Some
shit will happen in Hollywood that's more entertaining for us, and more we don't care.
We don't care.
We care for a moment, but then something else comes in. Exactly.
That's so fucked up, man.
If it gets really bad, where we really need to focus on something, it'll be the Detroit Lions finally win the Super Bowl, and we'll forget all about it.
or maybe the Cowboys win one. Shit, you know what I'm saying? That's funny.
It ain't got that. It ain't got that bad yet. They'll pull that card out when it's really bad. When they need a real distraction, they'll finally let the Cowboys win one.
Well, so there's some real world impacts on tourism here in America based on, and I think this can get ugly, right? Because there's an energized CBT, the border control people, the customs and border protection people have gotten energized. They're starting to do a lot of crazy shit, even with American citizens. And some people coming here being warned to come to America. I do have a little clip that I wanted to show. So bear with me. Let me share this for a second. I want you to give me some. It's not that long. It's a couple of minutes here. Let me share this. All right. Where is it at? There it is. Okay.
Trump can carry a lot of emotional baggage.
He created an atmosphere that's very hostile for us. With everything going on south of the border, it just seemed to be a lot safer to just travel within Canada.
This is the U.S. departures area of Montreal's Trudeau Airport, which is particularly quiet at the height of summer.
Drop in tourism is impossible to ignore. According to data from the Smith Travel Research, in June, occupancy fell 14.9%, and it got worse in July. For the week ending July 5th, Las Vegas posted the sharpest decline in the nation. Hotel occupancy fell to 66.7%.
That's crazy. A Norwegian tourist gets strip searched over a bald JD Vance meme. An American citizen with 2.8 million followers gets interrogated about Trump. A college student spends 30 days in solitary for filming TikToks. Welcome to America's new border reality, where memes are extremism and hamsters are evidence of human trafficking. The tourism crisis we exposed a month ago?
I'm never going to get over the bald meme. It just looks too good. And Vance owns it, too. I think he posted it on his own account on X.
It just went nuclear. And this time...
However, I got to say, coming back to the U.S., my interaction with CBP was interesting, to say the least. They are very anal, ask a lot of questions. Check your shit. Why have you been gone for so long? Come over here, do this, check your bag, this, la, 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 la. So very interesting to see. The airports in America were much emptier than the ones in Europe. That's true. And the guy I rented the car from was telling me that business is down dramatically. He's the smaller guy here. They have a family-owned business, a small operator. Not small. They have multiple locations in like 2-3 states here on the West Coast and in the desert. And he was telling me, dude, especially from Canadians alone, the drop has been absolutely intense. He said it's been like this since practically the start of the year, and it's probably the worst start of the year and the worst summer season, just the worst year period that they've ever had since his family's been in this business, and they've been in business for decades. So it's not actually, it doesn't look good.
It's not just statistics. It's viral videos, global mockery, and an airline industry literally fleeing American airports. The world isn't just avoiding America anymore. They're warning each other to stay away. Here's the incident that changed everything. Mads Mikkelsen, 21, Norwegian tourist, lands at Newark Airport with valid papers and a return ticket. 5 hours later, he's strip searched, threatened with prison, and facing a $5,000 fine. His crime? A meme on his phone showing JD Vance without hair. Border agents called it extremist propaganda. They demanded his passwords or threatened 5 years in federal prison. CBP's response made it worse. They denied it on social media. The internet responded exactly how you'd expect, by making the story go supernova. The Streisand effect in action. One badly photoshopped meme became an international incident that reached 50 million people. Norway's largest newspaper ran it front page. American border agents fear bald politicians. But Mikkelsen's story is just the appetizer. Meet Hassan Piker, American citizen, global entry holder, 2.8 million Twitch followers, detained at Chicago O'Hare for 2 hours while agents asked, "Do you like Donald Trump?" and "Do you support Hamas?" They scrolled through his phone, questioned his political views, treated him like a terrorist. He live-streamed the aftermath. Millions watched. DHS accused him of lying for likes. The damage was done. The most insane case? Ziming Wang, 23, college student, decides to film TikTok content at the Mexico border. Border Patrol asks him to translate for Chinese migrants. He helps 3 women find shelter. Next thing? arrested for human smuggling, 30 days in detention, 10 in solitary confinement. His evidence of trafficking? 3 pet hamsters and a girlfriend. The judge literally asked prosecutors, have you ever heard of a human trafficker traveling with hamsters? These aren't anomalies. They're policy. Germany just updated its travel warning for the 3rd time this year. The new language is brutal. Neither ESTA approval nor a U.S. visa guarantees entry. Final decisions rest with individual border officers. Translation? Your paperwork is worthless. Some guy at JFK...
And there's a fee now, an extra $250 tourism fee that the U.S. is charging. And if you're from a high-risk country, I can't remember, there's some countries, like one of them was Nigeria, a couple other, they call Haiti, and a couple other high-risk countries, you now must put down a deposit of something like $5,000, $10,000.
All right, so I'm taking that down. So that's enough. But you get the point on that, right? So there's some ramifications for us for Trump's tightening the borders, is getting people licensed to do something they might not normally do. So it's actually impacting tourism, whether that's on purpose or it's just an extra added paranoia that's going on. What do you think about that?
I think it's all part of their plan. I think it's all part of their plan. For whatever reason, it's sometimes it seems like people are losing money or making money, but as long as the money is being generated in circular, then that's all that matters.
You don't think they care about the reduced tourism coming here? I mean, the powers that be, why would they want to reduce the tourism here out of just fear that somebody's going to sneak in that shouldn't be here? Or is it just like or is it just pot luck? If you just happen to get a CBB person that day who's on their period, meaning figuratively speaking, it could just be a man who didn't get no ass that night, and he feels like giving you a hassle. So now he can, as opposed to just being, a regular human being and say, okay, your paperwork looks good, go ahead and move forward. So now it's pot luck, right? It's like they can give you a hassle if you want, and once you're behind those doors, you're really pretty much trapped, right?
Yeah.
It's
a crapshoot.
It's a crapshoot. I mean, so I can see how it would discourage people from coming here. So I don't know, man. I think that's a bad thing. I think that's a bad part of it. I mean, securing the borders, yes. Getting illegal people out, yes. But trying to be paranoid where you should be and don't trust the paperwork that you ask people to have, I think that's a bit much. Unless somebody's really suspicious. Who gives somebody a hassle because they got JD Vance with no toupee?
Who are the people that are really suspicious?
Well, I guess the agents, right? I mean, what you mean? I mean, I just think that they've just been emboldened under the climate that we're under, right? They understand what the people in power. I guess I don't know.
But they've been emboldened since 9/11.
That's true.
And they've not scaled back ever since. It's always going forward. How they treat people in a degrading way. We accepted it in 9/11 because we were afraid, and here we are, almost 25 years later, and they've not scaled back, but instead they've increased how they degrade and take advantage of people. So we shouldn't expect anything but degradation from them. They've never shown, when they've gotten power, to regulate a logical or humane way of treatment. I think the entire TS needs a complete revamp with just recycle a whole new staff, a whole new way of, because they've had 25 years and they don't even really do the job well. Stuff still gets smuggled past them. Stuff still gets put on. So
yeah, that's true.
It's like a person who's been married for 25 years, but they've been beating their spouse and being horrible the whole time. But then they're trying to get credit for saying, "Look at me, I've had a marriage for 25 years."
Yeah,
it's like, on paper, it seems like we should be listening to you and taking your advice. But when we really look at what you've done in these 25 years, you're a horrible employee. You're not a good person to teach how to do this the right way. And there's other, and I'm speaking about American airports. I mean, it's different in other airports how they treat you. But now, since now they're following America's lead. Now the other TSA agents in other countries are starting to act like the ones in America, and now that's becoming a problem.
All right, so listen, man, we're coming down to the end, man. If you had to give Trump a score, his administration, not necessarily the man and his attitude and all that, but just his administration, what they're doing in the first 200 days. What do you give the good, the bad, and the ugly, man? What did you give him a score for? And knowing all the other stuff that's probably true, they all at the same. It just so happens to be the Republicans in charge right now. So, what do you give him a score as?
Well, let me say this, and then I'll answer your question really quickly.
Okay.
From my perspective, in my community, and my beliefs, I would have said that George Bush Jr. was a 1 or a 0. But if I was if I was rich or I was part of his camp, I would say that George Bush Jr. was a 10. George Bush made trillions of dollars for his people and constituents. So from my perspective, I could be like, oh, he's a 1, he's a 0. But for the people who aligned with him, he did a masterful job. Even though he might be dumb, people said the same thing about Paris Hilton. Like, oh, she's so dumb, but she made it multi-million dollars by portraying that. So she's not so dumb. So now I say about Trump, I would personally give him a 5, but the people who really rock with him, he would give him about probably an 8 or a 7. And the people who don't rock with him who are completely on the liberal side would probably give him a 1 or a 2 or even a 0.
That's 0, man. They got 0. That's for sure. But listen, I think it all comes. I don't know if you've finished yet, but like I said, I give them good grades. However, it could all come tumbling down if they lose the midterms, especially in the House. If they lose both of them, forget it. They're going to impeach him, right? If
he
they
won't
can't
lose it though. He's not losing the midterms. The pendulum in America hasn't changed enough for them to want a blue. No, there's no all the people there's no real face of the party on the blue side. There's no real person to galvanize the people against the Republican side. It's just a bunch of people with fancy words and talking points and memes, but no one's really galvanized the people of the blue side. So no, Trump's gonna. He'll be fine.
Still counting seats in the House, though, right? I mean, what do you? Okay, so let me ask you: what do you think about the guys who cut out Texas?
What do I think about the? What about the what?
The Democrats who left Texas and not doing their job.
I have no information about that at all.
Well, let me stop it here anyway because I'm gonna have to get out of here. I know BMU wants to. Hey, listen, man. You've been up here before, right? I would imagine. Not with me.
It's been a long time, actually.
All right.
It's been a long time. Man. Yeah.
Don't let our spat keep you away, man. Come back, man. So
there's nothing but a conversation. I don't run from conversations. It's all good.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for coming up, man. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. All right.
Hey, for all you there, thanks for coming by, Lois. I'm glad you showed up. And 100 watts for reminding me that I'm a baby boomer. And this is for stopping by. And 100, my man Champ Talk Reactions. And Bo from Berlin, man, that was cool. Anyway, I'm out of here. And good night from the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Until next Monday, we'll have something else to talk about.